to the Bar Association Grievance Committee for prosecution of felon, gangster, mafiotic, negroidic, the Black Frank Gelada, a gangster judge, therefore unprosecutable, the blackish, menial, negroidic in appearance and demeanor, felon, vicious, parroting puppet, ex-district attorney, Nassau County, with no private law experience.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day, sir. I said good day! So, I made a fancy Trump countdown. I should have done that days ago. Now we've got 9 hours, 12 minutes, and 36 seconds. So some breaking news, I guess, to talk about right off the bat is that the Trump pardons have come in. The long-awaited Trump pardons. Will Trump pardon Julian Assange? Will Trump pardon Julian Assange? People want to know. Of course not. But he did pardon Lil Wayne. So it kind of makes up for it. Like a little bit, don't you think? Like it kind of makes up for it. I mean, sure, we don't have Julian Assange, but Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne. Come on, guys. It could be worse. It could be a lot worse. Now, it's kind of like I was saying the other day, when he does pardon the people, it's going to just be a list of Jewish gangsters. Well, it turns out it's a list of Jewish spies, gangsters, and black gangsters. Maybe they'll vote for him now. Maybe they'll finally accept him now that he's pardoned Lil Wayne, and then some other rapper types I've never heard of. My favorite, though, has to be Aviam Sella, who was indicted in 1987 for spying on the U.S. for Israel. He was a literal Israeli spy who came to America to recruit more spies. And his big claim to fame was he recruited Jonathan Pollard, the Israeli spy who gave our nuclear secrets to Israel. So, Julian Assange doesn't get a pardon, but Israeli spies, he pardoned basically an Israeli spy network. Trump's based draining of the swamp was pardoning the Israeli spy network that was subverting our country. Worst fucking president ever. And I know that I'd played the clips, that Art of the Schlemiel video for you guys a couple nights ago, and one of the things that it was missing was this little montage I'm going to play for you now. It was, this is when people have asked about WikiLeaks, this is how I knew, dude, I knew fucking I've been saying, look, if it wasn't such a dire situation that we're in, it's still kind of hard to not just be going, neener, like, I was right, you were, like, that's not really in my nature, but it's, at the same time, I kind of need some release for this frustration. For years to be just saying, like, this is how it's going to go, and everyone's saying, no, trust the shill, you're a fucking shill, trust the plan. You're not trusting hard enough. In fact, it's not going to work now because you're the one. It's like Santa Claus's magic, right? Like or Tinkerbell. If everyone's not clapping, clap, hurry, quick! Tinkerbell's dying, quick! Everyone clap! Oh, she's back to life. That's how Q's plan works. If one of us stops trusting the plan, it just it fucks up the whole system. So it's my fault because I stopped trusting the plan. That's really what happened. It has nothing to do with the fact that Q is fake or any of that bullshit. It's basically because I stopped trusting the plan. And I ruined the Santa Claus magic that Q is powered by. And if only I had trusted harder, then it would be fine. It would be fine. Of course, it might still be fine, as Simon the Alien has been telling people. You see, when you do watch, because the Q grifters now know what's going to happen tomorrow. So here's their grift now. Well, you see, if you see a inauguration tomorrow, it's all CGI. It's all CGI. The deep state is going to trick you into thinking that Biden is now president, but secretly it's going to be Trump. It's going to be Trump. So here is Trump on WikiLeaks.
I think.
WikiLeaks.
You still love WikiLeaks?
I know nothing about WikiLeaks. It's not my thing.
WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks.
Looks like Bernie got a little bit of a bad deal based on WikiLeaks, right?
They want to distract us from WikiLeaks. It's been amazing what's coming out on WikiLeaks.
And all you have to do is take a look at WikiLeaks and just see what they said about Bernie Sanders.
Even Chelsea Clinton, the WikiLeaks email show, expressed serious concerns about conflicts of interest at the Clinton Foundation and the State Department.
I know there is something having to do with Julian Assange. I've been seeing what's happened with Assange, and that will be a determination, I would imagine, mostly by the Attorney General, who's doing an excellent job. So he'll be making a determination. I know nothing really about him. It's not my deal in life.
You still love WikiLeaks?
I know nothing about WikiLeaks. It's not my thing.
He knows nothing about WikiLeaks. It's not his thing. It's not his thing, guys. You know, the Attorney General, who, by the way, was Jeff Sessions at the time, is doing a fantastic job. He's going to be taking care of it. Don't worry, guys. I'm just going to delegate everything that I said that I was going to do to people who don't want to do it. And, you know, that way, when it doesn't happen, I can just be like, well, I don't know. I tried. I told Jeff Sessions to do things, and he didn't do things. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And meanwhile, people are looking for secret codes and messages in the Trump tweets and how he blinks and his hand motions. Oh, he drew a Q with his hand. That means Assange is in a shipping container. They've squirreled him away out of the UK. The Assange you see on footage, that's all CGI or a body double or something like that. He's at a black ops site in Northern Virginia, and they're debriefing him, and Trump's going to bring him out and declare him the hero of journalism. And you watch. You're trusting the plan, right? Because we need everyone trusting the plan for this to work. We need everyone trusting the plan. Now, the funny thing is, it's actually not entirely false that there are secret messages in Trump's tweets. I came across this video today. It's actually quite stunning. I'm going to let it loop a couple times so that you have time to actually see this. It's not bullshit. They're actually, it's not the secret messages that the Q people would like to see, but it was a secret message in some Trump tweets. And I don't even know what to make of it. Other than, like, is he just laughing at us? Is he just laughing at us? So have a look at this bizarre secret message that you will see in the Trump tweets. All right, guys. I know the resolution on this copy is not that great. But take my word for it. He literally tweeted out the lyrics to this song. Like the first couple words of every tweet, if you scroll down on his Twitter feed, were the lyrics to that fucking song. So make of that what you will. Make of that what you will. Good Lord. But yeah, little by little, people they're ceasing to trust the plan. People are starting to take the black pill. They're finally catching up to what I was saying back in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and now 2021. Including people that you might not expect. Even Alex Jones seems to have taken the black pill. I'm not sure how well he's taken it, but he has taken the black pill.
I mean, it's over. You understand? Your only shot you've got is realizing that we're screwed. Your candy-ass church isn't going to do it. Your candy-ass boss isn't going to do it. We're a trained group of monkeys in this country. We're not what Americans used to be. We're not rugged individualists. We don't stand up for the Bill of Rights and Constitution. We're a joke, okay? And so they got people like Brian Stelter up there saying shut down all of his competition on TV now. He thinks he owns you. Jeff Zucker thinks he owns you. These are bad people, okay? So I've done the best job I can. And I'm not bitching at the crew or you or anybody. I'm just saying it's hard for me to get up here and do a normal show when we have a group of corporate criminals literally gang raping us. I mean, if we ever beat this thing, it'll be in the history of like these people were Hitler. I mean, this is unbelievable. It's not like, oh, we're getting there. It's bad. Things are out of control. They've just begun. They're going to take your pension funds. They're going to bankrupt. They're going to cut the power off, the oil off. They're going to open the borders. It's over, man. It's over. It's all gone. It's all over. They're going to activate the Boogaloos, FBI, ADL, terror forces. They're going to start blowing everything up. Then they're going to come arrest all the patriots. The idiots will cheer it. Then they're going to shut your power off. They want you starving in the street. They want to rape your wife. They're Bolsheviks. They're Jacobins. It's all over, man. All over. Enjoy. All your games. In fact, America is rotting and deserves it. Now, the Satanists aren't good. They're not God. God just lets them have their way now. So all your games are over. All the TV watching, all the laziness, all the slack jawing's over. It's over. You're going to be just like a baby at 6 months being chopped up in its mother's womb. You're not a human. You're not essential. You're dead. They're going to kill you because you don't care.
So there you go. Oh, yeah. I know. Not everyone. The black pill doesn't go down smooth for everybody. But I think that, once the shock is worn off, like, look, I went to a really dark place myself. And it was a little darker because I was by myself. But now that all you guys are joining me down here, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. We got like a whole crew. So, not like I said, the black pill isn't that, oh my God, it's everything's going to end. That we have no chance ever. It's just that no, we just don't have all these fantasy ways of looking at how to fight what we're up against. You just need to sweep those off the floor, sweep them out the door, under the carpet or somewhere. Not under the carpet. Get them the fuck out of the house. Those are all bad ideas. They're bad ideas, and they won't work. And they're why we're here. They're all very, very, very bad ideas. I tweeted out today, there was just, look, there's a news story like this every fucking day. Every fucking day. This isn't like an anomaly. This is something that happens every fucking day. And today there was a story on NBC News. And like I said, I tweeted it out. It's on my Twitter page. And the NBC News stories is an anonymous donor gives $40 million $40 million for 50 future civil rights lawyers. Well, I think you can put together what that means. 50 future. We don't have just some anonymous donor giving $40 million for us to have lawyers. And like I said, this is just one random day out of 365 days a year that this happens all the time. Maybe not 40 million every single day, but actually maybe. If you were to divide up all the money that just Bank of America gave to BLM, that might add up to 40 million every day. That's the situation, folks. That's the situation. And the best we could do is Trump, who can't even look. He could just pardon. He didn't pardon a single fucking protester, not a single one. And nothing would happen to him if he did. It's 100%. It's one of the few things the president can just fucking do, and no one can say anything about it. And instead, he pardoned an Israeli spy network that was subverting your country. That's the best we could do. That's the best we could do. Do you get it yet? Is it starting to come together a little bit inside your head that maybe we're fucked? And look, we'll stop being fucked. Right now, one of the biggest reasons why we're fucked is because there's so many people in denial about it. That's the problem. If people were to just come to terms with this, hey, look, we could start to dig our way out of it. But right now, it's like you're in a room full of fucking alcoholics that can't admit that they have a problem, and you can't solve the problem unless you can admit that you have one. And instead, they just keep drinking and drinking and drinking, and they can't figure out why they keep waking up in a bucket of piss, covered in their own puke. Like, what happened? Maybe if I drink more, this problem will go away. Well, in a matter of speaking, I guess it does. But does it really go away? Does it really go away? And it's funny because the QAnon, I've talked about this. A lot of the response that you're seeing from the left is because it's just the inverse of the QAnon wackos. There's a lot of people on the left who view Trump in an insane way. In a way, quite frankly, that I wish that he was. I wish that I could live in this leftist delusion where Trump is this fascist dictator who's going to overthrow the government and all this other stuff. And there was a video going around on Twitter. I told you, I have a lot of stuff for us tonight. There was a video going around on Twitter where they frame it exactly like that. It's like the leftist version of QAnon. It's delusional. And here we go. I think everyone, the funny thing is this is meant to be like a scary, like, oh my God. And look, part of it, I don't want to say it's scary, it's predictable. Part of it is, we talked about how they're going to get the red flag laws and all that stuff going. This is a leftist preparing people to do the mass doxing and the mass turning in of, the tattletale brigade to get people on these red flag lists and stuff like that. And that is precisely what they're going to do. So look at this delusional view of Trump. If it ever loads. There we go.
Donald Trump will no longer be the commander-in-chief. On or before January 20th, Donald Trump will no longer be the commander-in-chief. He will lose control of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Special Forces, and America's nuclear arsenal. On January 20th, Donald Trump will become the commander-in-chief of a different army. This army. The greatest threat facing America today comes from within. Radical extreme conservatives, also known as domestic terrorists. They are hidden among us, disguised behind regular jobs. They are your children's teachers. They work at supermarkets, malls, doctors' offices, and many are police officers and soldiers. For more than a decade, Donald Trump has spoken directly to white supremacists in their language.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Pocahontas? Is it offensive? Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
In the middle of a presidential debate, Donald Trump was asked to disavow white supremacy. He refused. Instead, he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
They heard their leader. They even responded to him on Twitter promising to stand by. And on January 6, 2021, Trump greenlit them. They suited up, they flew in, they took hotel rooms, they loaded their weapons, prepared their bombs, and they attacked with the intention of killing Nancy Pelosi and hanging Vice President Mike Pence.
They were vocally saying, "Where's the speaker? We know she has staff. They're here someplace. We're going to find them."
In the years ahead, Trump will lead his army of domestic terrorists. He will encourage and incite violence. He will play the role of arsonist and fireman. He will start a civil war and then say things were more peaceful when he was president. We have to fight back. In this new war, the battlefield has changes. Computers can be more valuable than guns. And this is what we need now more than ever, an army of citizen detectives. I'm proposing we form a citizen army. Our weapons will be computers and cell phones. We, who are monitoring extremists on the internet and reporting their findings to authorities. Remember, before the Navy SEALs killed Osama bin Laden, he had to be found. He was found by a CIA analyst working on a computer thousands of miles away. It's up to you.
So there you go again. The left, isn't it funny that the new thing for leftists is you too can be like a CIA analyst tracking people down. The exact opposite of what they wanted 30 years ago, or 20 years ago even, really, or 15 years ago. Why? Because they have no principles. They don't have any principles. They don't have any ethics. It's real easy for them to just flip-flop around because there's nothing that they're bound to. So the CIA and spying was really bad under Bush. Then it was like, not bad under Obama. And now it's awesome under Biden because it's going to get rid of the Nazis. And I don't think I have to tell you that the Nazis means you. The Nazis means you. So there is, in less than 9 hours, in 8 hours, 50 minutes, and 25 seconds, Biden will be sworn in, and they will start signing this legislation that helps them purge the military and purge local, state, and federal law enforcement of anyone that's even remotely like-minded. They reported today that they had removed over a dozen of the National Guard that are in D.C. because they have ties to extremist groups and militias. An extremist group just means you might have a Trump bumper sticker. Remember, everyone's an insurrectionist now. Everyone's a Nazi. Speaking of troops, they've increased the number. They've increased the number of troops, apparently having over 10 times the amount of troops in D.C. that they have in Afghanistan. That wasn't enough. They have to have 15 times the amount of troops in D.C. that they have in Afghanistan. As someone in chat said, they won't be happy until they have 6 million troops in D.C. But on the bright side, guys, on the bright side, Trump finally, because he really wanted this. This is something he always wanted. His entire presidency, he was always saying he wanted to do this, and he was never able to get it off the ground. But Trump finally has his military parade. So at least Trump wasn't a total failure. At least he finally got that military parade to bring us all together, to celebrate the patriotism. Speaking of bringing us all together, that's one thing that, that I told you as soon as Melania tweeted out that tweet about how now is a time for the nation to heal. That was the ease into it. Melania had to do it because no one takes Melania, well, seriously at all. And so they had to have Melania, she just tweeted something out, like a little softball, like, hey, because it's hard to go from, it's fraud, this is an illegitimate election to, I was saying how this was an illegitimate election for months, and how it was fraud, and how it was stolen, and how I'm the real president. Yeah, you know what? That's okay. It's okay. It's okay that it was stolen. And now let's come together and celebrate under the Biden administration that we're all Americans and we'll all come together to heal. And just forget about the fact that there was fraud. And forget about the fact that that Biden didn't really win the election and that elections don't mean anything anymore. And just now is a time for the nation to heal. Now is the time for the nation to heal. And I'm not going to play the farewell address. It's really fucking long. It's like, it's like 20 minutes long. I guess it's not super long. You can watch that on my Telegram. It's on my Telegram. It's full on cuckery. It's full on, like, literally he brings up black unemployment. It's just like, Jesus Christ, this fucking guy. He brings up black unemployment. He brings up, moving the embassy to Jerusalem. Like, he brings up all the shit that, like, no one gives a fuck about. He brings up all the reasons he lost as like the great accomplishments. And of course he says, like, when I ran in 2016, we had a list of things that we wanted to accomplish. And I'm proud to say today that we accomplished all of them. That's your president, at least for another 8 hours, 45 minutes, and 19 seconds. That's your president. He accomplished everything. Did you hear? Did you hear the good news? Look, the plan finally happened. Oh, thank God! I've been trusting the plan for so long. I'm so glad that all the goals have been met. Oh, thanks, Q. Thanks, Q. We couldn't have done it without you. There's no way we could have done it without you. Yeah, mission accomplished, as someone in chat said. I think we can, well, you might remember Bush's major faux pas. It was basically, that's what I'm saying, though. He's no different than if we got a Jeb Bush. He really isn't. In fact, a Jeb Bush might have been better. Might have been better. But Bush landed a fighter jet on an aircraft carrier with a big banner that said mission accomplished. And how long ago was that? And we're still at war in Afghanistan? He said mission accomplished, what was that? Like 20 years ago? And we're still at war? Well, there you go. Trump was literally no different, and maybe worse, than having just a normal establishment candidate that would have done essentially the same things. A normal establishment candidate would have chosen the exact same Supreme Court justices. They would have. They would have chosen the exact... He didn't just come up with that list of judges himself. Well, just like he didn't really do anything. He delegated everything. Everything. To people that the Bushes would have hired. It was the same crowd. And then he just, he just tweeted all day and took credit for things that he thought people liked and then blamed other people for things that he thought people didn't like. And he wasn't even right about the things that he thought people would like, as you can see in his farewell address, talking about black unemployment and moving the embassy to Jerusalem like a massive faggot. Like that's all he has. That's all he has. So all of the blood, sweat, and tears that you have shed over the last 4 or 5 years, trying to get this MAGA agenda to become a reality, it was all for nothing. It was literally all for nothing. And in fact, it probably made things worse because now the left is extra fucking pissed off, and is calling you domestic terrorists. And not just like the crazy, not just like the guy that made that video, not just the leftist version of QAnon people, although obviously that's going to be an issue too, because that's Q spread like a virus, and this kind of thinking on the left will also spread like a virus. The difference is the people on the left, they know how to use power. They're not afraid to use power. Trump was a weak, feckless faggot. And the left, you can say all you want about how, well, a lot of them are faggots, I guess, but they are not afraid of using power. They are not afraid to use power. Now, I don't want to get people paranoid because I'm not sure. A lot of people have heard about this. And look, I know a lot of people don't like Catboy, Cammy, and whatever. It has nothing to do with that. For those of you who don't know who that is, well, I'm thinking most of you guys know who that is. He was raided by some federal agency. The details aren't all in. But it might, I don't want to get everyone too freaked out because it might have something to do with him overstaying a visa because he's from Australia. I don't know for a fact, but, if not, it has begun. Here's Catboy Cammy talking about it.
Proof of life, I guess. So I'm sure a lot of you have already heard. I was raided earlier, and well, I don't really want to talk about it while there's an ongoing investigation. So I'd appreciate it if people didn't ask me questions and stuff that I'm obviously not able to answer. A little bit dinged up there. But yeah, so now you know.
So there you go. I don't know if that's the beginning of something or if that just has to do with a visa violation or something like that. Obviously, he's painted a target on his own back, and there's a lot of people who want to get rid of him and kick him out of the country. So we'll see what happens with that. But I suspect, either way, there will be some no-knock warrants in the future for lots of people on the right. Anyone that opposes the globo homo tsunami that we're going to be facing in the next, well, maybe who knows? Maybe indefinitely, really. Maybe indefinitely. And look, so many people are not prepared for what's coming. So many people have no idea what they're up against. So many people are watching these insane videos on BitChute about Trump having superpowers, flying out of a helicopter, dressed up like Batman, and arresting all the pedos right at the last second. In fact, this video came out today. This is one of the bigger QAnon people. This is the, what is it, X22 Report or something like that? I think it's called X22. This is one of the bigger QAnon people, and this is what he was saying today. Today.
But I do believe that Trump, the Patriots, they're in total control because, as we can see, Radcliffe is out there. And remember, he put out his letter saying, yes, there is Chinese interference in the 2020 election. This is the lead-in. This is exactly how they're telling people that there's something else happening. Drip, 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 and then the flood. Now, we know that Trump, he is planning an elaborate send-off. Now, remember, optics are very important. Put aside what Melania is saying, her farewell speech. Put aside what Trump is doing. This is all part of the plan. This is a sting operation. You don't come out and say, you know what? I'm not giving a speech to say I'm leaving. I'm not making plans to leave the presidency. No, you make it look like everything is normal. That's exactly what he's doing. Now, what's very interesting is that he's going to have this huge send-off complete with red carpet. Now, think about that for a sec. Complete with red carpet. If we go back to post 1258, this tells you everything you need to know. Should we tell all the good people watching the date and time? Red carpet rollout. Think logically. The world is watching.
Oh, God. So, yeah, that's the Q people. And, like, that's some of the more tame shit, really. That's not even, like, the worst shit. That's like, I guess you could say that's like centrist Q. That's like middle of the road Q. It's not extremist Q. That's just like the average Q. That's the Q. I know people that believe this guy. I know people that in real life that watch this guy religiously and believe what he's saying. Still, today, with 8 hours, 36 minutes, and 30 seconds left of the Trump presidency, they still believe it. That's what we're up against. See, this is the problem. Like, not only are we up against the millions of dollars that the leftists have, not only are we up against the left having every institution, whether that includes the music industry, the movie industry, the media, the the military industrial complex, the military, at least at the officer level, the federal agencies, whether you're talking about FBI, CIA, NSA, all these agencies, now the presidency, the House, the Senate, every major corporation, all of the big tech companies, Apple, Google, all the billionaire class. Are you starting to figure it out now? Like, is this starting to sound like a tall order? All the pundits. We don't even have one mainstream pundit. Not one. There's not even one mainstream pundit that is on your side. Not one. But then, on top of all of that, and it's worse than that, but that's I think at least a concise list that kind of sums up a little bit of the problem. A little bit of the problem. Oh, and I forgot the bankers, too. The people who actually run the monetary system. Those guys, too. So, add all those people up. And then, look around yourself and say, okay, well, who do we have on our side? Who do we have to combat, basically, I don't know, the rest of the world? Who do we have on our side that's going to be the David to this Goliath, or this army of Goliaths? Who do we have? Well, we got a few of us, right? We have a few of us. We got like a couple different groups that are relative. There's some infighting and stuff like that, and it really needs to fucking stop, guys. That really needs to fucking stop. All of it. Like the purity spiraling stuff, we don't have time for it. We don't have fucking time for it. All right? Like in fact, it doesn't even matter at this point if you think that they're doing bad for the quote unquote movement. It doesn't matter anymore. If they're just not trying to kill you, that should be good enough right now. Okay? At this point, that needs to be good enough. So, unfortunately, that also includes the Q people. And there's a lot of them. There's more Q people than there are of us. All right? That's another thing. You gotta get that figured out. It's not my videos that are number one trending on BitChute, okay? It's not my videos that are getting 100,000 fucking views on BitChute. It's the psycho that thinks he has an alien hybrid son and is telling people that Biden's inauguration is going to be a hologram, okay? That's the guy that has a much larger audience than people like me, or really anyone. It's not about me. Like, there's no one on this side of the fence that comes even close to that. In fact, the whole first page of trending is basically Q garbage. So there's more of them, unfortunately. Look, we got to deal with it. This is why I've been fighting it. Because it's not an insignificant crowd. And at least they don't want to kill us. And yeah, they say stupid boomer things like the Democrats are the real fascist or the real racist and all this. Yeah, look, obviously they're idiots if they still think that there's a chance. Obviously they're not too bright. But you need those people too. Sorry, you need those people too. And so that's the other problem is you look around at your allies and some of a large portion, a larger portion than are not, are delusional and in denial of reality. Because honestly, like Alex Jones was saying, that we're a nation of methadone drip consuming, slack-jawed, low IQ, Netflix plugged into retards. That's what the left, or not the left, that's what the country has turned into, or the whole West in general. They've engineered the public. It's like that WikiLeaks email between Hillary and that professor, where he said, that we've taken a lot, we spent a lot of our time and effort in making the public unaware and compliant. And when during the Trump election, he said thankfully the unawareness seems to be holding, but the compliance is starting to slip. And that's the problem, is we need to get these people who live in a fucking fantasy world to wake the fuck up. And a lot of them will, I think, after tomorrow, a lot of them will have to. And there's going to be a whole grieving process. It's not going to just be like after tomorrow, they're like, oh, holy shit, I guess you guys are right. No, they're not going to do that. And a lot of them, especially the grifters, are going to say, well, actually, we have to wait till March 30th, and they're going to try to string it along as possible. We have to fight those people. Don't fight the guy who's on your side, who just believes in Zeus instead of Jesus, or thinks that we should be, some kind of, that a form of fascism might be better than capitalism or whatever. Honestly, stuff like that doesn't even matter right now. Okay. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. We got to get people to at least be able to perceive the world in an accurate way. Okay. We can work out all these, these other problems later. Right now, we need to get people to realize, oh shit, we are up against Godzilla. And Godzilla's about to stomp all over our fucking city. That we need to get people to see the fucking danger that's right outside their door. And then we can talk about solutions. Right now, that doesn't really fucking matter. That doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, guys. So all that energy that you're putting into spiraling about, the exact perfect solution to the problem, you're not even in a position to be talking about that. You're in no way in a position to be talking about that. And I've been fighting this for a long time. I don't want to play the whole thing because it's just too long. But look, I made several videos making fun of Q. Like I said, I'm not going to play the whole thing here. But I do want to play one little clip here. And look, I think this came out like at least 6 months ago, maybe like a year ago. You can watch it on BitChute if you want. But I'm not going to play the whole thing. Just going to play a little clip here.
I never get this. Oh, it's...
That. Bro. That's Q.
Who's Q?
Well, I don't know. Who's Q? Only Trump's America First patriots working from the inside to take down the cabal of satanic pedophiles that run the globe. You know that Q. The Q, they speak to us through on the anonymous image board site using riddles and clues so we can find out how the plan's going? Bro.
Well, what's the plan?
Bro, listen to this guy. What's the plan? They can't tell us. Bro, it doesn't matter what the plan is. What's important is that they're doing the plan.
Okay.
We have to trust the plan.
But what is it?
Bro, I say it's not important. You just gotta trust the plan. Disinfo is necessary.
I don't know, it seems like it'd be important to know what it is, though.
Bro,
Shill. It's a shill. We have a shill, everyone. It's a shill. A deep state shill. Shill.
That's a shill if I ever seen one.
Bro, everybody shut up. Q's about to speak.
New Q. Yeah. New Q. Oh, fuck yeah. Give me some of that Q. Give me that Q.
When does the bird hover, fly, Tangerine Air Force? Think logically. Removal, arrest will happen. No deals. Think 2020_P. Election +1. Period. POTUS is protected. Patriots in charge. Fight. Q.
Oh, God, yes. I knew it. I fucking knew it. Patriots in control. Where we go one, we go all. Come on, bro. Just do it. Just do it. You know you want to do it. Just do it.
We go all.
Come on, man. Just do it.
We go all. Where we go one, we go all. We go all.
That's right,
we
bro.
Go one.
God damn, I cannot wait until they declare martial law.
I cannot wait until they declare martial law. So yeah, I've been pushing against this for a long time. A long fucking time. It wasn't hard to see through. In fact, I'm a little amazed. I thought by now, for fuck's sake, I thought by now it would be over. I really did. I guess I underestimated the power of this cult. But it's... what are you going to do? What are you going to do? We got to fight it, though. Because these people, whether you like it or not, these people are on our side. These people don't want us to die. And these people want their way of life, which is compatible with your way of life, to continue. These people care about the future of their children, and these people care about Western values, at least closely related to yours. Okay, close enough to where they don't want drag queen story hour. They don't want their children chopping their dicks off and stuff like that. Okay, which sadly that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So these are the people we need to reach. And the good thing about that is if we manage to actually reach these people, they have a cult-like, a religious, loyalty to this objective. Now, of course, the difference is we can't just be telling them, oh no, the plan is just you do nothing and some magical fairy is going to be taking care of all the problems for you, right? And that's gonna upset them. That's not as a happy reality as the real reality. A lot of them are going to reject it, and a lot of them are going to check out mentally, honestly, after this anyway, because they're going to feel lied to. I did a whole fucking. I'm not going to play it. I did like a whole fucking half-hour long video on Q, and I said in that video, which was I think that was like a 2017 or 2018 video, where I said, look. People are believing this because it makes them feel smart. It makes them feel like they're privy to information that other people don't have. Even though, obviously everyone has access to the same internet that they do, they're not, these people aren't super bright. They're just not. These people are not super high IQ. So anything that makes them feel smart is going to be attractive to them. It's going to be like, oh, wow, I'm part of the secret high IQ secret agent club or whatever. And I don't even have to do anything. I don't have to do anything at all. All I have to do is believe in Q. And I'm part of this club. Now, like I said, though, the problem is going to be is once it's painfully obvious to everyone except for the complete wackos, which will never fucking reach anyway, that it was all a lie, what's going to happen? they're going to feel stupid. They're going to feel stupid, and people hate fucking feeling stupid, especially these kinds of people. Because these are the kinds of people that bought onto it because it made them feel smart. And now it's going to make them feel stupid. And look, not just the ridicule that they've been getting from us. Think about these people in their personal lives. Think of how many of these fucking people, like, just try to put yourself in their shoes. Like, if you supported Trump, think about all the conversations you had with people in your personal life trying to get them to vote for Trump in 2016 and convince them that he wasn't a fascist and all this other stuff. Just think of like all the shit you took doing all that, right? And kind of the blowback now that you're getting and how that kind of sucks. Now take that to the Q level. A lot of these people in their personal lives, and I know this for a fact, have been telling spouses, children, I mean, fuck, the Amazing Polly, that chick, Amazing Polly, and maybe I'll play the clip of her, but Amazing Polly said that she doesn't even talk to her daughter anymore because she was telling her daughter about Q, and Q was, like that was the big divisive subject, and it ruined her relationship with her daughter. So these people have been going around telling family members, telling, I don't know, maybe coworkers, maybe their boss, oh, just wait, you'll see. And some of them are still doing it right now. There's people probably texting a friend right now and saying, even now, oh, you'll see tomorrow. You'll see tomorrow when Trump comes parachuting in. You'll see tomorrow. Biden will never be president. Trump's going to be president for 4 more years. You'll see there's going to be a military takeover. You'll see those troops are not in D.C. to protect the ruling class from us. Those troops are in D.C. because they're going to arrest all the ruling class. You'll see tomorrow. And then when that doesn't happen, after how many years, like some of these guys, how many years of looking like a complete psycho to everyone that they know? You don't think they're going to catch shit for that? So a lot of these people, this is another reason why Q was such a terrible, terrible thing. A lot of these people are just going to shut the fuck down. They're just going to be like, all right, I don't want to have to go through that again. I don't want to get on board with any kind of movement now because now all my friends think I'm a fucking psycho or an idiot or both. So that you got to remember that's what they're going to be going through. And so some of those people are going to be checking out completely. And, I don't want to get swindled again. I got swindled once by that Q thing. I don't want to destroy my life again. I don't want to be like this woman here, grasping at straws.
Or the good guys, the white hats, still have control of the military, and the team that has been supporting Trump for real is getting ready to enact some type of martial law, maybe through the Insurrection Act, in order to once and for all round up the bad guys. Hopium alert, right? I know. Believe me, my carafe of hopium had run dry. But I have reasons to believe that the evidence I'm seeing adds up to possibly good news. Possibly the storm is upon us, and we should see action within the next 10 days. I know, who knows? I could be wrong, but we'll see. I'll show you as we go along. So
that woman for years was telling her family all about Q. She was the one that started the Wayfair thing, like, oh, Wayfair is selling children, as cabinets on their website, and now her daughter and her don't talk because she bought into it that deep. She bought into it that fucking deep. And look, I don't think she was doing it. I honestly don't. I don't think she was grifting. I don't think a lot of them are grifting. I don't think she was grifting. I think she actually believed her own bullshit. I think she thought that she was fighting the pedos. I think she thought that she was somehow helping things. You know, it's like when you give a kid some kind of useless job. Oh, look how cute. He thinks he's helping. But unfortunately, you know, instead it was like an amplification. It's like I said, think of how disappointed you feel. Think how disappointed you feel about how much of a failure Trump was, right? And that's the Q people times, or the Q people are that times like a million. Because your expectations for Trump were relatively, you know, not that crazy. You know, you just wanted him to do what he said he was going to do. These people wanted him to do stuff he never said he was going to do. So tomorrow we're going to see a self-destruct. Before we go to chat, one more thing. Someone brought to my attention. I guess they say that what is it? I can't think of the word, but you know, copying, when you copy someone, it's the greatest form of flattery. Apparently the Babilon B, the Babilon B must have seen my meme. You guys might remember this one. I'm going to play it here real quick.
It's yours? No, my mother said she found it in your closet. Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
So that was the meme I put out, I don't know, like a week or so ago. And then someone brought to my attention that Babilon B, and someone in the chat came up with, it was imitation. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, or whatever it is. So here's the Babilon B's version of basically exactly my meme.
This yours?
No,
Your mother said she found it in your closet.
I don't know. One of the guys must
Must have what?
Look, Dad, it's
Where
not
did you get it?
Dad,
Answer me. Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
So there you go. There it is. Someone says, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So there you go. There you go. No, of course they didn't credit me. Of course not. Whatever. I actually don't care. I don't care. I don't get too hung up. I just thought it was funny is why I'm showing it to you guys. Because I think there's probably a lot more people, a lot more eyeballs on my content than people are willing to admit. Because I say things that you're not supposed to say. You know, they have a list of things. If you say any of these things on this list, I can't be associated with you. I have to disavow that. Otherwise, my donor money stops rolling in. Otherwise, my wide appeal shrinks because, you know, like I can't be. I mean, he's one of those white supremacists, insurrectionists, Nazi terrorists, domestic terrorists. Oh boy. Oh boy. So yeah, just in a few hours, I guess I'll stay up for it. I might as well. I can't promise I'm going to stream tomorrow night. It all depends on what goes down, I guess, tomorrow. If shit goes down tomorrow, I will stream tomorrow night, but then I'm taking a fucking day off. I just got to fix my sleep. There's just things I got to get done around here that I have to get done during the day, and it's hard to get stuff done during the day, and then also stream 2 to 3 hours every night after midnight. So that's just something I gotta get like a normal day in pretty soon here. It's starting to get a little backed up around here. So here we go. Let me take a look at chat. Devon, you're right. Infighting is useless. Q people need to be guided to see the truth on the J's. Must use tact when redirecting their focus. Talk is cheap. What's the angle to guide them to the truth? Look, you just can't go balls to the wall with this stuff, right? I mean, it's like you just got to realize it. Like so many people, they like again. Not only do they purity spiral, but they also think that like, well, you know, if you're not naming them every 5 seconds, or if you're not, you know, if you're not being overtly exactly true to the you know, to white interests explicitly, then you're bad. No, you're not bad. If you're able to move things in the right direction, even if it's just a little bit, look, you might end up being the gateway drug. I mean, look, Stefan Molyneux, right? I don't think anyone really thinks of Stefan Molyneux as like super based or anything like that. But if it wasn't for Stefan Molyneux, I probably would not understand the importance, really, of the correlation between race and IQ. I would not have, because look, no one wants to believe that. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it because of the repercussions, and because honestly it goes against all the programming that was going into my head my entire life. And so I based a lot of decisions on the lie that we're all fundamentally the same, and that the only difference between the different races was superficial. You know, that, oh, okay, well, he just has darker skin and maybe looks a little bit different, but you know, at the end of the day, we're all the same. So if we try hard enough, eventually we'll be able to get them to see things our way. Because that would be great, right? Like a lot of these people that believe that, they don't believe it because they're cucks. They believe it because that would be great. There wouldn't be a problem if that was true. That would be an easy to tackle problem. And it's not so much, like I said, it's not because they're cucks or whatever that they don't want to believe that. It's just that once, not everyone's, again, it's a black pill. It's a fucking black pill. Once you realize, oh shit, you mean these are real statistics? You know, like, oh shit, how come, oh wow, you mean 13% of the population really commits over half the murders in this country? And that's been a fairly consistent statistic for years and years and years. It's not like some anomalous thing that happened. This is just normal and has been for ever almost. Wow, that's that's a black pill. That's a black pill. Or, oh, you mean like there are actual IQ statistics that are broken up by race and they're also consistently different with some significant gaps? And you can't raise IQ by, you know, with education. It's pretty much hardwired, you know, from birth. It's a hardware problem, not a software problem. Oh, all of a sudden look, and Stefan Molyneux was really great on that stuff, right? And I think a lot of people would agree. Stefan Molyneux was a good bridge that people crossed from going to just being like a libertarian that was thinking like, oh no, we just need more education, more outreach to the Hispanic community, more outreach to the black community. Eventually we'll be able to get them to see things our way. You know, we'll get them to become Americans just like us. And then once you see that data, it kind of opens up your eyes to a lot of other things. Like a lot of other stuff just starts making sense. And that would not have existed, I don't think, for a lot. That's probably why Molyneux's been deplatformed, because I think that he was a fantastic tool for that sort of a thing. And so if you try to deny the value that people like that can have, it's only going to hurt you. Like I said, we're up against an army of Goliaths. We can't be picking and choosing the people that are going to help us throw rocks at it. You know, like we need to have as many people on our side as humanly possible, even if they're not 100% on board. All right. At this point, we can't just be purists about every little fucking thing. Now, again, if they're damaging, like these Q shills, like if they're actively hurting us, That's different. That's different. But people like Molyneux aren't actively hurting us. And you can say, oh no, because he stops people from going all the way. I don't think he does. I mean, he does, but like, I think he starts more people on that path than he stops them. Or at least he did. Now he seems to have pretty much thrown in the towel and doesn't talk about any of this stuff because he's become a pariah or whatever, right? But we got to have some compromise. The left has a really big tent. They have nothing in common over there except for that they all hate us. And so we need to realize that what that means for us is we need to have a big tent, not like a huge tent. You know, there has to be some limits, right? And that's fine. We need to have some limits. But we can't be so picky about some of this shit. Jordan Peterson's daughter will save us with her yeah. Well, no, I would put Jordan Peterson outside of what I'm talking about. I think all you have to do is look at, you've been on YouTube. What does YouTube want to make you watch all the time? Jordan Peterson videos, right? I don't know how many Jordan Peterson videos I have to thumbs down for it to not get recommended anymore. The worst is when it recommends the same one that you've thumbed down over and over and over and over again. It's clear they want you listening to Jordan Peterson because Jordan Peterson is a psyop. So there's a difference between people like Jordan Peterson and people like Molyneux. I don't think Molyneux is a psyop. I think Molyneux has trouble with stuff like the JQ because, quite frankly, I think he's part Jewish. And I think that a lot of people that have maybe a complex racial situation in their own lives often get nervous about talking about race because they perceive it as maybe a danger to themselves. They think that, oh, this is going to spiral into some thing where I'll end up, because I have one drop of whatever, I'm going to be the one that's executed. Look, it just makes them nervous. And I think that he has some weird paranoia that's tied to that. And look, it could even be maybe he's got funding. I mean, that's coming in from people that would stop funding him if he talked about that. I don't know. Who knows? But I don't think he's actively there, that he's funded by actual, like the UN. Like, Jordan Peterson worked for the UN. He's rep by CAA. Like this guy's literally a part of the globalist structure. He exists. Like I didn't see Stefan Molyneux doing these big media blitzes where he's on all these different shows and suddenly being shoved down our fucking throat everywhere we go. Quite the opposite. So there are people. In fact, that's a good rule of thumb. Is this person accepted by the globalist machine? Is this person allowed a platform? If so, then yeah, he's probably not good. And that's a quick, easy way of measuring whether or not that's someone that should be considered an enemy or not, quite frankly. I think that's a really easy way to do it. If it's someone that's been allowed on TV, especially if it's like multiple times, like not like they were allowed once and then like they figured out what they'd been saying because people complained. I mean, someone who's been, that's part of that club. Yeah, they're your enemy. They're your enemy. And by the way, like I said, that includes Tucker Carlson. And I've talked about Tucker Carlson ad nauseum about the fact that his father was CIA, that he said in the Washington Post that his favorite pizza place was Comet Ping Pong, like that he was having pizza with Donald Rumsfeld, that he applied for a job at the CIA and like supposedly wasn't hired, but then magically got all these media jobs, that he comes from old money, that he's the heir to the Swanson family fortune. Look, obviously he's not on your side. He's not. He's a pressure valve. Okay? Because that's why he's allowed on TV. That's a quick, easy way to determine whether or not someone's on your side. Are our literal billionaire enemies, the people that want us dead, are they allowing them on their platforms? Yes. Well, that's probably not good. Probably can't trust that guy. That's probably pretty easy to figure out then at that point, huh? Okay, let me take a look at chat here. Jared Taylor was better at race IQ. Yeah, well, Jared Taylor's fine too. But you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Hey, Devon, what about Jimmy Dore? Look, Jimmy Dore, I think he believes what he says. But I also look, he's not on our side. He still thinks that we're evil. He does. He thinks we're evil. So look, is he better than, say, a I don't know, like is he better than, say, a CNN correspondent, or like is he a better newsman than say someone that's on a major network? Yeah. I would even maybe say that maybe his heart is in the right place, but he's not on your side. He's not on your side. He's not helpful for us. He's not as harmful. I wouldn't see him as someone that I would go after specifically, because again, he's occasionally, like Tucker had him on as a guest, so he is occasionally on stuff. But look, I don't think he does what he does for money. I think he really believes it, and I don't think he lies. So that's at least that's a good start. It's a good start, but he doesn't see the world like you and I do, and he's never going to be an ally in that way. Molyneux has touched on the JQ before, but he knows he would have lost his platform. He went any further into it. He also retweeted a load of my tweets and race stuff. Yeah, he retweeted some of my stuff, but he still got deplatformed. So playing it safe didn't seem to help him. He was a pussy. At best, he was a pussy about it. Anyone can't say he represents sane whites and nons that don't hate us and mean it is shit and will lose. Yeah, I mean, look, you got to have your preferences. It's just like I want to take care of my family, and my family extends to my genetic my tribe, right? And if there are other tribes that want to create alliances from time to time, and that aren't other tribes that aren't trying to kill me, sometimes you got to find war makes strange bedfellows, as they say. Sometimes you're going to have to team up with other people that aren't of your tribe to achieve a goal. But primarily, we don't. Our tribe isn't even solidified yet. So right now, my focus is let's get our tribe. Let's get all these confused Q people into our tribe, and get all these other people that are kind of thunderstruck and don't know what to do about what's been going on the last couple months and what will happen in exactly 8 hours now. Let's get them into the tribe. Let's get them into the fold. Because right now they're just wandering the world with, fantasies going on in their head. Whites need hard times to improve our genetics. Well, that's part of it. That's part of it. Part of it is we've lived in a dysgenic, decadent world for a long enough time to where we have, as Edward Dutton would call them, spiteful mutants. We have people that have not had evolutionary pressures working against their survival, and so they have all these mutations because Western medicine keeps them alive, because this decadent lifestyle keeps them alive, because they're not outside, working the fields. They're inside, eating food and watching Netflix. And then those people that would have been claimed by nature, those people that wouldn't have survived, maybe even to a reproductive age, those people are then meeting other people that might have also have been weeded out by natural selection, had that been happening in the same way that it was happening for eons prior to the modern times. And then those two people that are full of mutational loads, they breed and they make another kid, and that kid is just full of a compounded amount of mutations, and so forth and so forth. And next thing you know, we've got purple-haired weirdos. The crazy people are running the institutions now, and they're running the asylum. That's what happens when you have generations of this absence of evolutionary pressures. And it doesn't matter if you're Christian or whatever. Don't recoil to the sound of I don't believe in evolution. Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter. Like, if you believe in having traits from your parents, you believe in evolution, okay? Like, if you believe in DNA, you believe in evolution. You don't have to believe that we came from monkeys or that we came from a single-celled organism or whatever. You can believe whatever you want if you go back far enough, but everyone knows that a Pekingese came from a wolf, and that happened through selective breeding somehow. And that, even though they look nothing alike, and they're totally different animals now because of who knows how many generations it took. We have these two different crazy animals that came from the same source, and the same thing's happening with humans. We're not immune. You know, it's like when I was arguing with the ranchers, and I was telling them that, like, look, you're telling me that genetics does not play a part. When you're telling me that you have all these illegal aliens working for your ranch, and that somehow that's not affecting the community around you, and because genetics don't play any part at all, and that, you know, anyone that says that is a racist. That's what you're telling me. That's your argument. But at the same time, you're willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for genetics for your cows, and you would never say that I could get any kind of cow, because there's lots of different kinds of cows. They're all cows. You can breed them together. They're all compatible. They're all cows. But you wouldn't just say, I'm going to start a dairy farm and then randomly fill it with random cows. Because genetics do matter. Genetics do matter. And for some reason, people have this mind block. Like, they think that genetics matter with every other animal, but not when it comes to humans. Or maybe they'll think that, okay, well, it does apply to humans, but it affects only every organ except the most expensive organ, the brain. Somehow, genetics will affect your eye color, your hair color, your height, your facial features. It'll affect every organ except for the most expensive, most complicated, the one that takes up the largest portion of your genetic makeup, the brain. Somehow, that's the only part that isn't affected by genetics. Well, you're an idiot. And that says something about your genetics if you can't figure this one out. All right, let me take a look at chat. The field of genetics was literally started by a priest. It's the godless commies in the USSR that banned genetics and promoted pseudoscience of Lysenkois. I don't know what that is. Now we have... Oh, you guys are all talking like really fast. Get ready for the Trump apologists for him not pardoning Assange. Oh, he wanted to, but Mean Mitch wouldn't let him. Well, it's already started. It's already started. They've already said, I forget the name of this advisor, but there was some advisor that's already what they're saying. So-and-so wouldn't let him. He advised him against doing it. So why even have a president? What's he even there for? Like, really, what's he even there for? If all these advisors are to blame for everything that happens, what is he doing? Is he doing anything? I mean, if all of his advisors are the ones calling all of the shots, why do we even have a president? Really? Like, why is he there? Let's see here. What you guys should be doing right now is burying guns and accumulating PMs. I don't know what PMs are. Well, here's the thing. If you are concerned about gun control stepping up, and you should be, and if you're concerned about red flag laws, and in my opinion, you should be, I can't really tell you what you should do, but my understanding is that there are people that are concerned about these things, and what they have done is they have ensured that should their home ever be, searched or something like that, no guns would be found. I've heard people do that. I don't know. So when people say buy a 3D printer, that's actually a really good idea too. That's something I think I would really enjoy, especially because I have a background in 3D modeling. I think I'd really enjoy that. It just, I don't have the time and the money to invest in that right now, but I think there's probably a lot of people listening that do and that would enjoy that. And I think that's something that needs to be looked into, but also that's probably something else that's going to get banned. You know, Chuck Schumer has been trying to ban that for like 10 years. And they will ban it. They will ban it. That's on their list of things to get rid of. Will they ban it right away? I don't know. So if that is something that you want to get into, I would be probably accumulating a lot of these files, like the plans for these things, and just storing them locally somewhere. Because there will probably come a time where that's totally unavailable. Whether you have a 3D printer or not, it won't matter unless you're going to design it from the ground up. And maybe you're capable enough to do that. I don't know. Then someone says, press your own bullets. Yeah, I got a friend that does that. The problem is you still need the brass, right? You still need to find the brass. And you still need to be able to buy the gunpowder and stuff like that. And I guess in a way it kind of helps out. So for this guy, when there's ammo shortages, and which is all artificial, obviously very artificial. I mean, bullets are not hard to manufacture. They manufacture. It's not like during a war we run out of bullets. Maybe there's some shortages. But like, look, it's not a difficult manufacturing process, and so the shortages are artificial. And during these shortages, you can usually, this is how you know it's artificial. You can usually still get all the parts that it takes to make bullets, and that's a good hobby. I got a friend that does that. He recycles all of his own brass, and sometimes goes to shooting ranges and collects the brass and stuff like that. But he's not the only one that does it. He says that you have to get up pretty early in the morning because a lot of people do that, and there's like competition now to get the old spent brass. But the equipment to do that's not expensive, and you can get all that stuff. I think you can get it just sent to your house too, so it's not even like that hard. You can buy it online. Maybe the gunpowder that you have to sign. I don't know. Like, I don't think so, because I've purchased ammunition online, and I don't think I had to do anything special. I don't remember. It's been a long time. Primers are nowhere to be found. Well, that's good to know. I knew this ammo price hike was artificial because I found a site that forgot to update their listing, and I bought 1,000 rounds of 762 for $320 shipped, and they actually sent it, didn't cancel the order. That's amazing. $70 for 50 rounds of 9mm in San Diego. Now we know why they legalized propaganda against Americans under Obama. They play 60 chess. Yeah, they're not afraid. They're not afraid to use the power that they've got. Why are all the guns in DC unloaded? Well, they were unloaded during the BLM stuff too. I think it's because they don't trust the people. They would rather it's the appearance of force. It's not really force so much as it's an appearance of force. Do they have magazines on them? I don't know. That'd be kind of ridiculous if they didn't even have a magazine on them. And it doesn't take that long to just get the magazine and stick it in your rifle, So it's not like I really doubt they're just walking around with no ammunition at all. Maybe they are, but I doubt it. But it's more about the appearance of force. It's like I was saying with the TSA. The TSA, it doesn't really add any security. In fact, there was that guy that would go through the body scanners on purpose because he knew the exploits. And, so he would go through with like metal objects and shit in his pockets and film himself. And they eventually ended up arresting him because he was putting these videos on the internet. And look, there were times I went through the body scanners and I forgot stuff in my pockets. And the way that it works is if the pocket is separated from your body for some reason, like it doesn't show up. It has to contrast against your body. And so like if I had like a baggy pocket and there was something metal in there, it wouldn't pick up on it. And I had that happen. I got on a plane and was just like, oh shit, this is in my pocket still? How did they not see that? So a lot of it's just theater. And by the way, a lot of those contracts to buy those body scanners came from, drumroll, Michael Chertoff. Michael Chertoff, who is a dual citizenship friend of Bush's, who was installed as the first head of the Homeland Security. Imagine that. Homeland Security that is the one that's buying all these body scanners. He's the one that profited off a lot of those body scanners. Biden will not pardon Assange. Hillary hates Assange. Why do you think he has been going through all this shit for 10 years? He pissed off the Democrats. Yeah. No, Biden will not. Obviously, Biden won't pardon Assange. Because the TSA is staffed by Dindus. Well, look, that's the other funny thing. If you go to DC, there are so many of these government jobs are it's just a welfare program. The TSA is like a welfare program. That's what it is. The TSA is a fucking welfare program. They don't expect them to actually do anything. They just expect them to stand around in their uniform and be a part of the theater. I mean, look. Here's your TSA. Everyone knows this. Like, everyone knows that the TSA, like, this is the TSA. Everyone's seen the South Park episode about the TSA. Everyone knows. Everyone knows it's a welfare program. And it's the same thing with, like, the Metro. If you go to DC and you ride on the Metro, what do you see? Everywhere you go, it's just disinterested black people on their phone that don't give a shit about their jobs and are probably making, in some cases, more money than you. You'd be surprised how much money these fucking people make. And almost every one of those jobs, if not all of those jobs, could be easily accomplished with automation. And I don't even mean like some high-tech super robot. I mean just automation that they should have had 20 years ago. You know, like the fact that you need, for example, someone driving the metro cars. Why do you need that? You know, if you go to an airport and the little monorail thing or whatever, or, you know, like in Las Vegas or anything like that, none of those things have drivers. And I get that these things were installed like in the 60s or 70s or whatever, but it's not that hard, especially if you see the budget of the metro. Like, how much does it cost to pay all those guys? So in some cases, some of these guys who their job is to push forward, stop, and then occasionally back. That's it. There's just a lever. You go forward, stop, back. That's it. And then every once in a while, because you're not even as good as a robot, like even close, before you get to a stop, you're supposed to say on this garbled thing that no one can fucking understand you on, next stop, and everyone's just like, what the fuck was that? And so you have to just pay attention to the signs of the stop anyway, because it's some fucking guy who can barely speak English anyway, talking through a Hamburglar phone to you about what the next stop is. And you can tell they don't even give a fuck. They don't even give a fuck. They don't want to be there. They just want to collect their $80,000 plus benefits. And you can't tell me that you couldn't just replace them with a $60,000. I mean, I'll make a fucking computer for $60,000 that does it. And it's the same thing though. Like, look at everything. Look at every government job. Look at the it's not just TSA or Metro. It's look at the post office. You know, look at the DMV. Every fucking government job is a welfare program, or at least the vast majority of them are a fucking welfare program. 80K, fuck me. Yeah, 80K. Some of the guys that drive the metro cars in DC make like 80K. In fact, there's like the ticket people, like the people that don't do anything, that just sit in that little fucking hut and get mad if you have to walk up and ask them a question. Like, you can tell they're like just pissed off because you have to, like, oh damn it, I have to like not sit on my ass for like a couple of seconds. Those guys, some of those guys make like 80K. Let's take a look here. Civil service. Do you think roundup will intensify anytime soon? Well, like, look, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen first. And so when you see that starting to happen, then you get nervous. But in the meantime, it's not quite as dire. It's not like, or maybe I'm totally wrong. Fuck, I could be totally wrong. Maybe tomorrow morning, you know, they'll kick down my door like the second Biden is sworn in, but I really doubt that. I think what's most likely to happen is that you will have the purge of the federal law enforcement agencies. At least the legislation will get enacted. They'll have the red flag law type stuff get signed off on or put into law. You're gonna have maybe that like the Domestic Patriot Act that people are calling it. You're going to have a lot of this stuff that they have to do first. They have to lay down the groundwork. That doesn't happen overnight. Now, it'll happen fast because Democrats don't just, say they're going to do shit and then don't do it. They fucking do it. So, and they're saying they're going to do it. So you got to listen when they say they're going to do something because they're going to fucking do it. They're not like Trump where they're saying, they promise something like, oh, I'm going to get rid of birthright citizenship right after the midterms. And then nothing happens. They fucking do it. Now, sometimes during an election, like both sides will lie a little bit, right? But it's usually pretty easy to pick up on what that's going to be. Like, no one thought Obama really was going to close down Gitmo. Or at least very few people did. Sleep with one eye open, Devon. We need you. Don't let the glowies get you. Well, like I said, I don't even think that I'd be on the first. I don't know. Maybe I'd be on the top tier list, but I doubt it. I think other people. I think there'd be warning signs. I hope there's warning signs. And if it comes down to it, yeah, I'll fucking I'll just bail, become a fugitive, a thought criminal. But yeah, that's the problem. Look, it doesn't matter that I don't do anything wrong. I really don't. Like, I don't do anything illegal. But it doesn't matter because they'll either pass laws so that you are doing something illegal. They'll pass a law that makes you a criminal, or they will, even if they don't pass a law that makes you a criminal, they will find other ways of fucking with you. They do it all the time. And a lot of like we've talked about this, we don't have an army of lawyers to defend us. When my book got banned off Amazon, if I'd had a team of lawyers, there's at least a chance that they would have to put my book back up on Amazon because they, in my opinion, they violated the terms of service. They are selectively banning my book in a way that they're not banning other books that are just as bad, if not way worse. And so they selectively picked mine for political reasons. So I probably would have a case to at the very least get them, or at least pressure them enough to where it's not worth them to go through court and they reinstate it. Or fight it in court and who knows what could happen. And there's a lot of people like that. It's not just me. Lots of people have a very similar case. Or in the case of like the DLive stuff, right? Or in the case of YouTube, all these deplatformings, if we had a nonprofit that was designed specifically to go after, look, PragerU did it. PragerU found out that they were getting punished by the algorithm. And in fact, a lot of the reasons why you see so many fucking PragerU videos is they will pay YouTube to play them like an ad. Right? So it'll pre-roll before the video that you want to watch. And that way it increases their views and whatever. But they were being refused service because they did not like the message of the PragerU video. And so PragerU sued them. And I don't know 100% how that shook out, but they're not deplatformed. They're not demonetized. They're able to run all their pre-rolls that they were doing before. They certainly show up and recommended almost as much as Jordan Peterson. So you have to have that legal network. Does chat have an opinion on pocket watches? I don't know. I guess pocket watches are cool. No, but business. Whoops. No, you're talking to someone else. Join a community, be a pioneer like the Mormons or like the Westboro Baptist fag church, make everyone a lawyer. I don't think Mormons make everyone a lawyer. In fact, I don't know any Mormon lawyers. I think you're thinking of another tribe there. Yes, body scanners based on a lie, fake underwear or something, let through by feds. Now people get fried by high-frequency milliwave radiation and ionizing radiation to fly, and the Jays get money when Master uses to fly. Yeah, I haven't researched the health effects, but I doubt it's good for you. DOTR is number 471 on Barnes Noble, up from 500 yesterday. Well, that's good. Countries like Australia, which have been disarmed, how do you think people like me should approach this situation? I don't know, man. Like that just, honestly, that's a really hard thing to overcome, which is why that's going to be a top priority in America. Because I don't know how you do it at that point. I really don't. Because, yeah, that's like a big deal. There's a reason they do it, because that kind of solidifies the power. What are you supposed to do at that point? Because you're already outgunned. You're already outnumbered. You're already outgunned. And so what if you don't even have any way to defend yourself? What do you do? I don't know. That's why it's so important that the Americans don't lose their Second Amendment rights. Because at that point, look, we're already kind of domesticated animals that are just, master says to sit and we sit. And all these people that, in fact, even a lot of these Second Amendment advocates that say, oh, you'll never take her guns over my dead body. You'll pry it from my cold dead hands. They'll never do anything. They're all talk. A lot of these guys are all talk. When the rubber meets the road, a lot of these guys, if asked to turn in their guns, would grumble and bitch and moan, but they would ultimately turn them in. So I don't know what you do. That's a really good question. In that case, I guess the information war is way more important, or at least it's way more important, because at that point, the people you need to get through to are the people that do have guns. If you're worried about those guns being turned on you, then you need to convince the people that would be holding those guns to not shoot you. So the information war is going to be way more important. And I don't know. The weird thing is, if you think about it, it's not like the natural state of humanity up until very recently was the Second Amendment. First of all, the guns as a weapon is a relatively new thing, right? And prior to that, maybe the ruling class would have more powerful weapons, in that they would have, maybe like better swords and better archers, and maybe better horses and armor and whatever. But it's not like, ultimately, it wasn't that hard for just a peasant to come up with a sharp stick. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like you were totally fucked because the king's horseman had a broadsword, and all you could do was make a spear. You could still fucking kill him with a spear, like you could still be dangerous to the ruling class's henchmen, right? But once, and that's been true for like all of time. And as soon as firearms came into the picture, it was still true. I mean, fuck, in the 1930s, you could have a fucking Tommy gun. You could own a Tommy gun, and it was like no big deal. You could own anything there was no limitations on any weapons. And in fact, you could have fully automatic weapons up until the 90s. And it wasn't until the Brady Bill that changed. And they've just in my lifetime they've done the drip of gun rights. When, like I said, it doesn't make any sense. It's unnatural. It's unnatural for there to be that imbalance of power. It's unnatural for the ruling class to have that level of an advantage when it comes to violence. They're always going to have an advantage when it comes to violence because they're the ruling class, right? That's why they're the ruling class, because they have the advantage. That's what defines the ruling class. The ruling class is defined by the group that has the advantage when it comes to violence. That's why they're there. If you had the advantage when it came to violence, you'd be the ruling class. Simple as that. So they're already going to have the advantage. But it's not until very, very recently that the ruling class has widened that gap, that has made that advantage nearly insurmountable. You know, in terms of places like Australia and the UK, where you can't even have any firearms really to speak of. And they're doing that slowly in Canada, and they're doing that slowly here, because it really does solidify power. It really it makes it nearly impossible to be a threat, to compete with their threat of violence, I guess. You know, and unfortunately, that imbalance, I don't know where that's going to lead, but it's not going to be pretty. You know, part of what kept the ruling class in line was a healthy fear of the peasants, was a healthy fear of the pitchforks coming out. Well, no one's going to give a fuck about pitchforks if you got an Apache helicopter. You know, that's really what it comes down to, is that I've talked about again and again and again. Fear is power. Fear is power. Now, to remind you, here's this clip. Here, fear is power.
47 years old. You know how I stayed alive this long? All these years. Fear. The spectacle of fearsome acts. Somebody steals from me, I cut off his hands. He offends me, I cut out his tongue. He rises against me, I cut off his head, stick it on a pike. Raise it high up so all in the streets can see. That's what preserves the order of things. Fear.
That's what preserves the order of things. Fear. And that's the truth. It is healthy. It is good for the ruling class to have at least a level of fear of the public. And like vice versa. You know, like if the public wasn't afraid of law enforcement, that would be bad too. Right? You need to have this equilibrium of fear. And in places like Australia, New Zealand, or I think New Zealand, I don't know what the gun laws are in New Zealand. Maybe the gun laws, well, they're probably changing now, right? But like the UK, if the ruling class does not have any fear of the public, what's to stop them from becoming megalomaniacs and just doing horrible shit? Nothing. Nothing's going to stop them. There's literally nothing that can stop them. So it's I don't know what to tell you, man. Like I guess, like I said, you can focus on trying to keep the people that do have guns on your side. You can focus on that and try to focus on trying to get guns legalized, or, you know, finding some way of changing the fact that you guys don't have guns. But I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. That's why it's so important that America doesn't go down that road, because we're already pretty much, look, we've described the situation ad nauseum tonight. Everyone gets it. You know, even Alex Jones gets it. Alex Jones is taking the black pill. Everyone gets it now. And think of how much worse it would be if we didn't have the Second Amendment. If we didn't have the ability to defend ourselves against these troops that are going to be soon ideologically purged to include only people that see you as subhuman. What do you think that's going to be like? What do you think it's going to be like living under a government whose entire enforcement apparatus sees you as subhuman? because that's going to happen. That is at least that's where they want. That's the destination that they're headed towards. That's where they want to go with this. Yep, not interested in living without 2A. Door-to-door confiscation is where I go down. Bummer, but what's the point of life without it? No, I don't. They're not. I don't think they'll go door to door because that would I think cause more problems than it would solve for them. Like I said, it's going to be a slow erosion, like it's been already. They play the long game. You know, they were able to make incredible gains in the 90s with the Brady Bill. And speaking of Trump being a complete failure, Trump just increased gun control because Ivanka cried, Daddy, the bump stocks are scary, Daddy. And because he's a weak, feckless piece of shit, he just went for it. After being supported by the NRA and talking about how much he loves the Second Amendment, of course, it wasn't that long ago. I played that clip. If you haven't seen it, you can go look at my video called Art of the Schlemiel, where 10 years ago, maybe it was 20 years ago, he's talking about how he hates guns and he wants to get rid of guns. This guy has no... We've talked about how the public and how the feminized West doesn't have a moral code, doesn't have ethics that they live by, and they're very... because of that, they'll change and believe anything, and there's no logic to it. They're just easily controlled. You cannot watch that video, The Art of the Schlemiel, and not conclude that Trump is exactly the same way. Trump is exactly the same fucking way. And I'm sorry that the fantasy turned out to be exactly just that, just a fantasy. But that's where we're at. Let's take a look here. NRA is trash. Yeah, the NRA is not exactly the best. But look, they have money, or at least they did. I guess they're having financial trouble now. They have, at least in the past, been a significant fighter in keeping the Second Amendment around. And Biden has named them as one of the enemies. And they will go after the NRA. He has said this in his clear of language that Biden can actually mutter. He has said that they want to destroy the NRA. What's the deal with the NRA declaring bankruptcy? Is this financial protection? Yeah, I don't know. But they are going to go after him. They're going to try to shut him down. A lot of it is, too, there's a lot of younger people don't join stuff like that. A lot of their membership is probably just dying off. You know? Is Richard Spencer control up? I don't know. I don't know him personally. It just, again, I don't feel like he's my boy because we have such radically different backgrounds. Like I said, he comes from money. I don't really have a lot in common with people that come from real money. I just don't. And I don't understand his recent political moves to support Biden and all this stuff. I don't know what to make of it, but I don't really care that much. He's chosen to go that way. That's fine. Whatever. I'm having to move out of Austin. Well, yeah, Austin's getting worse. What's the best state to move to long run? Really, none of them. Really, none of them. I don't know. Look, we've talked about how secession is probably one of the best options that we have. And if there was a state that we thought we could all move to, where we could change the politics of it and maybe even make that like the rallying call, like, just get everybody, like the Q-tards, everybody, to all move to one state and push for secession. It's nothing that's really worked in the past. Like the libertarians tried doing something, not with the secession stuff, but like tried to make, it was a small state even. It was New Hampshire. They tried to make New Hampshire into like a libertarian state. I don't know. They probably got it a little more libertarian, and they chose it because it was, I think, the most libertarian on paper, at least, out of all the states. The motto is live free or die. And it was the population's so low that it would be an easy thing to, to demographically shift or whatever. But it never really went anywhere. Is that something that we could look at? I don't know. It would certainly make things easier if we were geographically segregated, even if it wasn't a segregation or not a secession movement. Even if it was just that everyone that was in your state was based, it would improve things, because at least then you'd have the local government looking out for you. You'd have local sheriffs and the governor and mayors and stuff like that trying to fight off the overreach from the federal government. So that would be good. But ultimately, is that something that's probably realistic in your lifetime? I don't know. Maybe. People talk a big game about Idaho. I know a lot of people that have moved there. I don't know, though. I don't know I don't know where these chips are going to fall. I suspect in the next few years, a lot of these questions will be answered for us. Massachusetts people ruin New Hampshire running away from the high taxes. Well, that's the other problem you would run into. And people are already running into. There's the property values in Idaho weren't that high not that long ago, but because so many people fled to Idaho, they've jacked the prices up. Like, you used to be able to get lots of acreage for not that much money, and now they're subdividing these. These farmers are, because they know because the property value is going up so high, they're subdividing their properties into like 1 million different fucking properties and selling them to people and making a ton of money. So it's. And then as soon as that community gets nice, what happens? All the shit libs that live everywhere else start going there because they've ruined their own fucking. They're like locusts. Too many people moving, mass exodus from California, New York, New Jersey, with shit people coming. Right, and these people they have no self-awareness. They have no ability to figure out why they're leaving the state. And that's always been the case. All of these states that, because there's people that left, people have been bleeding out of California for a long time. It's just the population wasn't dropping because they were taking in so many H-1B1 visa holders and so many Mexicans coming across the border. I mean, that place, I don't know if you guys have been to California lately, but it doesn't even seem like it's America anymore. Like, it really doesn't. And like everywhere you go, there's people that are clearly not American, and even English doesn't even seem like it's the main language really anymore. It really doesn't. And at least in the parts of California that I've been in recently, it doesn't even. But it was kind of like that when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I lived in California for a little bit, in Northern California, and like I said, I was faced directly with the problem of diversity on a regular basis. There were gang fights in my elementary school. I got beat up because I was a white kid wearing a red sweatshirt that I borrowed from my brother, and apparently that was like a bad thing that I had a red sweatshirt. So I got jumped by like 20 Mexican kids on a fucking school bus while the bus driver acted like nothing was happening. And I was like a little kid. I was like in 3rd grade or some shit. And that was back in the day. That was a while back, okay? And so it's only got. I guarantee you, it's only gotten worse. Now, look, my parents we were kind of poor, so we kind of lived in one of the more diverse parts of town, right? But that's just spread. When I went to Politicon a few years ago, and everywhere from the airport to the event itself to like all the restaurants I went to, it's just it's certainly different from. The photos I'm sure you would see, photos from that same area from the 1950s. It looked like it was at one point in time a very Leave It to Beaver town. Like, it looked like all the architecture was very, quaint and kitschy, and I'm sure like not that long ago, it was not quite as diverse and not quite as dangerous. But yeah, it's a shithole now. California is just a big shithole now. It's a real shame. I was living in San Francisco until a few years ago. There was 8 years, and it went visibly downhill just in that time. Like 8 Walgreens locations have shuttered due to the lax shoplifting laws. Exactly. California's just a fucking third world country, In just like a third world country, you just have two classes. You've got the really poor and you've got the really rich, which works out great for the people that live there. If you're the rich people that run the place, you don't care if there's homeless camps all over the place because you're not ever in those areas. Texas isn't as bad as California in its Mexification, but it's not looking good either. Could be worse. We could be Europe. Yeah, like I said, the entire Southwest in the 90s was very white. Very white. And you can look at the census data. There are states that you wouldn't think would be like 90% white. They were 90% white. And that all changed. You got to remember, and look, this isn't hate speech. This is literally what it was called. Look up Operation Wetback sometime. All the people that say that, oh, you can't just load them all onto buses and deport them. We've done it before. It was called Operation Wetback. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. That's really what it was called. It's a real thing. Look it up on Wikipedia. They literally rounded up Mexicans on buses and deported them by the I think over 1 million people. It's been done before. It could happen again if they wanted it to happen. They don't want it to happen. Look at they just showed you what they can do in DC when they want something to happen. You know, they complained while the riots were going on. Oh, don't send in the National Guard. Don't do that. Oh, that'd be terrible. That'd be like fascism. Now there's 30,000 fucking troops in DC. They'll get shit done if they want it done. And if they wanted to deport all the illegals, they could get it done. And it wouldn't even be that hard. It really wouldn't be that hard. If you put me in charge of it, I could get it done in like a couple years. It would take a couple years. It's a lot of people you got to move. But I could get it done. Anyone can get it done. I'm going to take a look here. All you have to do is make those public buses to Mexico one way. No, all you have to do is you just have to ask people for their papers. You don't have them? Okay, get on the fucking bus. And then you jail every single restaurant that employs them. You get the owner, not the manager. You get the owner and put him in fucking jail for 30 years. Yeah, you let them know you're going to do that first. Or maybe you don't. Maybe first you raid all of these restaurants so that they don't have a heads up. And you throw them all on the buses. And then you jail all the owners that hired them illegally. That's all you have to do. And not just like there's a whole infrastructure built in here. Everything from the restaurants to the check cashing places, the people making the fake IDs, all this stuff. It'd be really easy to do. Really easy to do. And in fact, it'd be funny, like if they did, oh, well, and we're going to have riots in the streets. Okay, well, now we know where you're going to be, so we can arrest you. The fact that California has an elected official who's an illegal alien tells you exactly how hard they want to solve this problem. California has an illegal alien that's in elected government somehow. I don't know how that works, but it's true. Let's take a look here. Someone's saying, what? Yeah, no, look it up. Well, I'll look it up. Some woman. It happened a couple years ago. It's not even that new. Illegal immigrant wins election, California. Let's see here. I'm having trouble finding this. It's a woman. It was like a state government position. Illegal immigrant elected. Oh, you know what I should do? I need to look for undocumented, I'm sure. Because illegal immigrant is hate speech now. Undocumented immigrant. elected. Yeah, here we go. Imagine that. That worked. And by the way, I wasn't even using Google. That was DuckDuckGo was preventing me from finding that. Yeah, her name's, or I guess there's more of them now. It's not just one. This is someone else. Yeah, Adriano. This is someone different. And this is from 2016. Adriano Espo, whatever, becomes first formerly undocumented immigrant in Congress. So he's a congressman in New York. And he's an illegal immigrant. So I didn't even know about that guy. So there's more of them. California, here we go. Here's the one in California. Maybe there's more in California. I don't know. Yeah, in California, State Senate President Pro Tem Kevin, whatever. 33-year-old attorney Elizabeth Mateo will serve as member of California Student Opportunity and Access Program Project Grant Advisory Committee. And she's an illegal immigrant. I think there's more of them. And that's from, when is that from? That's from 2018. So yeah, this isn't like, our country's a joke. Citizenship doesn't even matter now. It doesn't matter. There's no political will to get rid of these people. Move to Alaska. Europeans have a 50% resistance to frost. Hispanics and blacks can't stand the cold. Well, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the cold either. I don't know. Have I seen the latest Caravan? Oh, absolutely. I've seen the latest Caravan. And it's just going to grow because Biden made it clear that he is going to give citizenship to the illegal immigrants. The quote-unquote 11 million illegal immigrants that are in the country. And we all know it's not just 11 million illegal immigrants. They've been saying it's 11 million illegal immigrants since the 90s. I don't even know how many it is. I almost don't want to know because that's like a black pill I don't know that I'm ready for. But it's probably at least double that. It's probably at least 20 million illegal immigrants. And especially, look, if you count all their children, who are technically citizens now, not that that even fucking matters, I guess. I mean, just imagine how many fucking people shouldn't be here. And if there was any political will whatsoever, that would be an easy problem to solve. Easy problem to solve. But yeah, there is no political will. As Joe Biden said, he wants just an unrelenting stream of immigrants coming. And he said, look, and here's another thing that makes me feel like that the real numbers suggest that there's way, way, way more illegal immigrants than just 11 million. The fact that Joe Biden said back in, I think it was maybe 2013 or something like that, by 2017, he said, by 2017, that whites would be in an absolute minority in their own country. And now the official numbers don't say that. But let me see if I can find the clip of him saying that. Of course, it's hard to find these clips because yeah, here we go. Actually, I found it. It's going to take me a second to download it because my internet's such shit. But he said this back in, maybe this has the date. Yeah, he said 4 years ago. So he was thinking it was going to happen pretty fucking soon. There we go. This is going to be low res just so I get it faster. He was saying that Europeans would become an absolute minority in by 2017, I think it was. We'll just see what he says. Here it is.
not only our Muslim communities, but African communities, Asian communities, Hispanic communities, and the wave still continues. It's not going to stop, nor should we want it to stop. As a matter of fact, it's one of the things I think we can be most proud of. So there's a second thing in that black box, an unrelenting stream of immigration, non-stop. Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. 2017 will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. For the first time in 2017, we'll be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength. And so
there you go. He was saying that in 2017, we would be in an absolute minority, and I'm pretty sure that Joe Biden has access to more accurate numbers than you and I do. Just an unrelenting stream. From 2017 on, for eternity, America will be minority European. I think that we already are. Probably since 2017. Nothing changed. Trump didn't change that. Trump didn't do mass deportations. Trump didn't make an actual wall. Trump couldn't even stop the caravans. Trump's ICE was flying the people coming across the border into the interior of the country. They were literally loading these people onto planes, speaking of Idaho, and flying them into communities in Idaho, small towns. They were dropping off illegal immigrants in small towns in white states, specifically Idaho and Maine. Why would you do that? Why would you pick someone up in El Paso, Texas, put them on a plane, and fly them to fucking Maine if you wanted to get rid of them? Why on earth would you fucking do that? Because they don't want to get rid of them. It would be, and again, this was under Trump. Under Trump, this was going on. This wasn't like an Obama thing. I mean, Obama was doing it too, but so was Bush. So was Clinton. This has been going on a long time. This isn't like some brand new thing that we have to deal with. This is a problem that working class whites have been complaining about my entire lifetime that's never been addressed because they don't want to address it. And it doesn't matter who's in charge. It doesn't matter who's in charge. I'm going to find this thing about Idaho taking in immigrants, if I can find it here. I don't see it right off the top of my head here, or right off the first search. I thought it would come up because they made it look like it was a good thing, and that's a good thing. But now I don't really see it anywhere in the search results. But there was a video where they were getting all the of course, the cucked Zionist Christian churches in this Idaho community were putting together care packages for these people that they were flying in and putting them up in hotels and all this other stuff. And it's kind of like Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck was doing these teddy bear drives for the illegal immigrant children that were coming across on the trains and stuff like that during the Obama years. Glenn Beck was creating care packages for these illegal immigrants that were coming across the border illegally during the Obama administration. So no one wants to stop it. No one wants to do anything that would actually stop it. It'd be really easy to stop. Really easy to stop. I could stop illegal immigration if you gave me a week and the authorization to use deadly force. It would be done. It'd be a done deal. You put a couple Predator drones on the border, and you put a couple guys with M60s in some towers. It's done. It's done. Because word would get out quick. Oh, what happened to Jose? Jose got droned, eh? Oh. That would be it. No one's going to want to cross that desert if they think they're going to be treated like Al-Qaeda. People crying about the optics. I don't give a fuck about the optics. Doesn't matter. It's an invasion. I would say the optics for people complaining is what's bad. And I would go after them. I would go. The people complaining about me protecting my nation's border are a danger to the people. So they'd be next. I would try them for treason. You're trying to facilitate a foreign invader. You're sympathizing with the enemy. Easy peasy. Now look, obviously this is all pie in the sky fantasy world shit. It's nothing that's going to happen. I'm just saying it's physically possible. And if we had a sane ruling class that gave a fuck about you and your children or about the nation or anything like that other than just their own personal wealth, these problems would be solved, and they've been solved in the past using similar tactics. We have bussed out millions of people in the past. We could bust them out again. And you wouldn't have to kill. I'm not saying you'd have to like napalm fucking caravans. You wouldn't have to do that. Word gets out that you might get shot because you're violating our sovereignty, which is perfectly a legitimate reason to be shot. If you're invading a country and you get shot, that's on you. And if word gets out that that's actually happening, that America just suddenly decided to actually defend their border, people wouldn't be trying to sneak across. It wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worth it. Fact is, nothing happens to you now. Fact is, even if you get caught, you know what happens? It's catch and release. They catch you in the desert. It's almost nicer because then you don't have to keep walking. They load you onto a fucking van. They go down, take you to some immigration center. They book you. They give you a court date and let you go. And then you just don't show up to court. Like, why would you? And you're just in. And if you're lucky, they might, before that even happens, they might fly you to Maine. So you're not competing with all the other illegal immigrants that already crossed the border in El Paso or, Phoenix or San Diego or whatever. You get flown into a part of the country that isn't saturated with illegal immigrant labor. So you got a better chance of getting a job. This is not a difficult problem to solve. It's just they don't want to solve it. Neither side wants to solve it. For totally different reasons. And the funny thing is, the reasons that the people on the right have, it's suicidal. And it's suicidal because they believe, because remember, like I was saying, they believe kind of in the same way I believed prior to Molyneux. This is why I was saying Molyneux was an important bridge and served an important role. Is prior to looking at the data that he was that I got from him, essentially, I instinctively already knew what he was saying. But everything I was being told was, no, it's okay. We can get them to assimilate. We just have to put more outreach. We got to spend more money on outreach. We just have to educate them. These people came from a different country. They have a different culture. They don't speak English natively, so they're not going to be able to read the Constitution and really understand it in the same way you and I do. But maybe their children can. I believed all this stuff. Like, it seemed a little, I was skeptical of it because I lived in environments where that didn't seem to be the case. And I instinctively knew that probably wasn't the case. But everyone was telling me that was the case. So I was just like, oh, all right, I guess. It doesn't seem right, but okay. And all these libertarians, all these free market people that want the cheap labor, that believe that, the funny thing is it's suicidal. Because they're not going to exist if the communists get what they want. And the communists are slowly getting what they want by allowing all your cheap labor to come in. But because you've managed to do some fucking mental gymnastics because it makes you more money, you're able to deny the reality of biology because it makes you richer. You're able to fuck over your fellow Americans because it makes you a little bit richer. This is all. Look, I think everyone gets it. I think everyone gets it. So we now have 6 hours, 57 minutes, and 24 seconds before Trump is completely gone. And before I leave you guys all for the evening, well, let me maybe answer a question. Did you see the picture of the Pope literally kissing the feet of a migrant? Talk about foot fetish. Yeah, that's the thing. Every institution is pro-immigration. Every institution. When I was telling you that we don't have a single institution on our side, I mean that fully. There are no institutions that look at the world that you like in the way that you do on almost any level. Whether you're talking about big churches, look, Mormon Church is the same way. Mormon Church, I don't know that they're open borders, but they're certainly they're certainly not race realists. You know what I mean? Like they're in fact, you'd be hard pressed to find a Christian denomination that is that even includes race in their thinking. Now that's different. The Mormons used to discriminate against non-whites up until the 1970s on an official level. But just like so many other things that changed in the 70s, you know, it is what it is. Hey, Devon, what do you think about Styx Hexenhammer? I think he's a weak little faggot. I think that he's a limp-wristed wannabe Satanist that always rides the fucking fence and tries to maximize his audience by not actually ever taking a position that's not the most watered-down gay position that anyone's ever had. And then he tries to LARP as some kind of Satanist occult, you know, weirdo. You know, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Vaccine endgame, sterilization or something. I don't know. I actually don't know. Chat's moving like way too fast for me to respond to anything. The up is 99% white, lots of lands, trees. I don't know what you guys are talking about there. Devon, is there anyone more despicable than Vaush? I cannot imagine it. I don't know much about him, but everything I've seen about him makes it look like he should be in a prison camp somewhere. Serious question. What your schedule will be now, and will you create a place for your community, the Blackpilled Army? Look, in terms of IRL stuff I think will need to happen. You know, like we can only be so effective talking online and stuff like that, and I don't know. Like I said, it's not something that I have. That's not my strength. The community building stuff, but I can't just use that as an excuse to not do it. You just got to be patient with me and realize that's not something that there's a lot of things that come natural to me. A lot. I'm a very capable guy, and I'm really good at a lot of stuff. Most things I don't have to try yet. I'm just being honest with you. A lot of things, if I try even just a little bit, I'll do a really good job at it. That's not one of those things. And part of it's because, whether you believe it or not, I am highly introverted in real life. And again, it's not that I don't have social skills. I can talk to big crowds. In fact, I can go to parties and be very social, but it takes a lot out of me. Like if I do that, like I don't want to talk to anyone for like the next 2 days. Like it just sucks the life out of me doing that. I don't know why. And again, I can't just say that as an excuse. Look, but you got to understand, that's my natural state. That's my personality type. And so that's my personal thing I got to overcome. And I think that IRL stuff, I don't know what kind of activism or whatever, but and then in terms of digital communities, I think that we need to start doing that too. Talking even in terms of just like ham radio stuff and things that maybe pointers on how to build Earth ships. Some of that stuff that we've talked about doesn't even have to necessarily be about politics. Just some of the stuff that's going to help our people survive through this rough time. And so that is something I'm highly interested in doing. It's just right now, honestly, I'm so burned out from doing these streams every single night. Like, how many days has it been now? It's been like a marathon. And I'm so burned out by it. Like I said, if nothing crazy happens tomorrow, I probably won't stream tomorrow. I just need like I need to clear my head. Because my sleep schedule has been fucked since I started doing this, and I've got a lot of stuff. Like, look, it's spring in the desert. Winter's not very long, and it's starting to already warm up. And there's things I got to do around the property to prepare for that, because it's only going to be a matter of time before there's like snakes and fucking scorpions and shit like all over the place. And I gotta fucking like the winter's great because there's no bugs or there's nothing. Like, there's no creepy crawlies. There's a reason why boomers come from all over the world to the desert for the winter, because the winters are actually kind of nice, like it's a little chilly. It drops down to freezing or whatever at night, but compared to where you could be, it's pretty good. But it's short-lived. It's definitely short-lived. And you not only you go from having like zero creepy crawlies to like you have every creepy crawly. Like, creepy crawlies, like every year it seems like I see like a new one. I don't even know what it is. I'm just like, what the fuck is that? So there's a lot of stuff I have to prepare. Like, I have to spray for bugs, and I got to do a bunch of other shit around the house and set more rat traps and all that stupid stuff, and fix my roof a little bit. How do you prepare for the changes in seasons? Well, it depends on what it is. Like, so all my cactuses that I'm trying to get going. So I have a little mini cactus farm. Cactuses don't grow in the winter. In fact, some of them didn't even really survive. There were a couple I was a little unsure of whether or not they'd be able to handle it. Not every cactus can handle winters. In fact, not every cactus can handle the summers out here. Some of them just get fried up because the cactuses come from all over the world, and many of them are tropical. And like a good example, I have a pretty sizable, actually I have a couple different varieties of this, a Peruvian apple cactus, and they come from Peru, obviously, and the conditions in Peru are way different than the desert that I'm in. So when I'm preparing for the summer to kick up, I'm preparing for the rabbits to start breeding and start, they're going to try to like break into my property and eat everything. So I have to check my fence, find any holes they might have dug under the fence and fix those up. The rat population will also start to pop up. Like, I haven't seen any rodents in a while, but that'll change. So I got to, reset all the rat traps, all that stuff. We also get monsoons, so I have to make sure the roof is ready to go. I've mostly fixed it, but there's still a couple things I got to do. I have a swamp cooler for my air conditioning, so I have to change the filters in that and pressure hose the pump and all that, all the sediment, because our water is very sedimenty. There's just like a lot of boring stuff that I got to do. Let's see here. Where the hell am I at? In an undisclosed location in the desert. I'm overworked too. Outsourced the online community creation. Everyone in the chat, send your resume. No, that's something I'll probably have to do. The problem with that is, like I said, I'm used to. I can lead teams, no problem. It's just I'm used to the dynamic is I'm paying these people, so it's a lot easier to. It's a different dynamic if you're working for free. If you're a volunteer, that you can't ask as much from people. You also can't. It's not just like there's no fear of getting fired, really. You know what I mean? It's the motivations are totally different. The dynamics totally different. And I've never worked in in that dynamic, so I don't know that my how easily my leadership skills will transfer over. And that's look, like I said, it's got to happen. So it's just going to be, just be patient. It's going to be a process that I got to learn as I go. All right, guy. So I'm going to take off. Before I go, though, I'm going to leave you guys with one of my personal favorites that really sums up the Q problem and how much of it has come to fruition. Sadly, it's not something I'm happy about. And remember, be kind. As much as this is going to make fun of them, be kind to the Q people tomorrow when they're all about to slit their wrists because Biden has become president. And not only that, it's Tom Hanks that's literally telling them that Biden is president in a made-for-TV special that half of them will say is CGI. Be kind to them. Try to guide them to the light. And here we go. Oh, someone is trying to call me here. Here we go. I really hope this is the last time that I have to address QAnon and how it's fake and gay. So let's go on with the show. I've decided to use pictures because not everyone has an 150 IQ. It's easier to have pictures so that you can understand this very complicated idea. And to make it completely easy for everyone to understand, I'm going to use a very easy to understand metaphor. Imagine for a moment that you live on this street and you're chilling out in your house and you're sitting by the fireplace reading leather-bound books or whatever it is that you do in your home. And you look out the window and you see that your neighbor's house is on fire. And you're like, oh my God, my neighbor's house is on fire. And you say, honey, we need to call the fire department. The neighbor's house is on fire. She says, oh no, it's okay. It's okay because, out on the street, this stranger told me that he called the fire department. And so it's all taken care of. Don't worry about it. And you're like, oh, thank God. I was starting to feel despair there for some reason. But now my morale is much higher. I feel better about the situation. I feel like, I'm going to survive this now, and I can go back to reading my books. And I was a little stressed out there for a second. But now that I know that the fire department is on the way, everything's fine, and nothing to worry about. And then 20 minutes or so goes by, and you haven't heard any sirens. And now, the fire's kind of spread to another neighbor's house. It's not quite to your house yet, but it's getting closer. And so you say, honey, that guy that you said, he called the fire department. Who was it exactly? And she's like, oh, I don't know. It was just, just a stranger. He wouldn't tell me who he was. And said that sometimes he lies because it's necessary. But to definitely don't worry about anything because he's called the fire department. It's all taken care of and we don't have to do anything. So just, sit back and relax and don't sweat it. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. And so you're like, okay. That sounds, I guess that sounds normal. I'm going to go back to, read my books and chilling out in my study. And then, another 15 minutes goes by and you're starting to think, it's been over a half hour now. The fire is definitely out of control now. It's kind of engulfed 2 homes. It is definitely getting dangerously close. It feels hot. It's getting a little hot in here. Hey, honey, that the anonymous guy that told you that he called the fire department. Are you sure this is someone we can trust? And she's like, oh yeah, it's fine. It's fine, And in fact, even if he didn't call the fire department, I mean, don't you feel better right now thinking that he did? You know, like, don't you feel so much better and more upbeat about the situation? I mean, imagine if you thought that he was just lying to us this whole time, and imagine how crappy that would feel, right? I mean, isn't it so much better thinking that he called the... I mean, because that's what's important, right? I mean, if we're going to survive this fire, what's important is that we believe that it's being taken care of, right? That our morale is high. That's the most important thing about surviving a fire is, you know, making sure you've got high morale. You know, you try surviving an inferno when you're in a bad mood. That is not good. So, you know, even if he didn't call the fire department, it's totally fine. And of course, that's where we are in the QAnon story. And then, of course, the couple begins praising the fire department. You know, okay, it's been 35 minutes. It feels like they should have been there by now. I mean, even if that guy didn't call them, at this point, someone should be putting out that fire, and no one's there. So, but that's fine. I mean, far be it from them to despair about the fire department not showing up. And I've got something to say about that. If you're going to fall into a pit of despair, paralyzing despair, because you find out that you might have to call the fire department, or oh my God, maybe try to put the fire out yourself, you're a faggot. If that's going to put you into despair, then oh my God, you mean the fire department isn't going to put out because the only people that can put fires out, don't you know, is the fire department. No one else can do it. It has to be the fire department. I mean, if you had to try to figure out how to put a fire out, that's not for you. That's not for you. Instead, what you have to do is just sit in your house, waiting for the fire, patiently waiting as the fire gets closer and closer, and just blather on and on about how awesome the fire department is, and you're not sure what's taking them so long, but you're sure that they have their reasons for it. Maybe they'll put the fire out. Maybe they've got some plan as to maybe there were pedophiles in those houses that are on fire. Maybe that's why the fire department's letting those houses burn down first, because it's the entrance to the underground tunnel where Tom Hanks has his pedophile dungeon. This is all part of their complicated fire management plan. If you were to try to figure out how to put the fire yourself, I mean, you wouldn't know what you were doing. I mean, fire, how complicated fire is? Yeah, who do you think you are? Not a fireman. So I hope that clears things up. That's all I got to say about this. Sure. So yeah, that's like I said, I've been attacking QAnon for a really long time, and it's really hard to not just rub it in their faces. But we shouldn't. We should be a little, have a little compassion for people whose whole world is going to be turned upside down tomorrow.
Felon, gangster, mafiotic, negroidic, the Black Frank Gelada, a gangster judge, therefore unprosecutable, the blackish, menial, negroidic in appearance and demeanor, felon, vicious, parroting puppet, ex-district attorney Nassau County, and watch my Frankenstein eyesight television playback of this felonious, lowly, sodomistic display by the felon, sodomist Judge William Sullivan and his lowly felon slut wife during my trial in Nassau County.